to do the roll call.
Chuck, we're ready to begin. Start with roll call. To Krieger. Wendover.
Here.
Snyder.
Here.
Brown. King.
Here.
DeBravik. Taylor.
Here. Okay. Looking for a motion to approve the agenda for today. Is there a motion? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
No public comments, there's no one in the public, so we can skip that. Okay, approval of the April 14th, 2014 minutes.
If everybody's had a chance to look at them, I'd like to congratulate Mike. That was a difficult one to get down, Mike. I think you did a good job.
Yeah, it was, it wasn't. I mean, I made it a point to start working on them actually the very next morning, while things were fresh in my mind in case there was something I didn't write down. And there certainly were a couple things.
And you filled in some blanks well. Thank you. I move that we accept the minutes as proposed.
Is there a second? I'll second. All in favor? Aye. No public hearings tonight. No new business right now. Looks like we have everything covered under number 8 and 9. Number 8, something that we've tabled since January, the election of officers. Okay, so is there anybody that would like to nominate themselves to be president? Or some...
Nice try. I promise if somebody does, I will do everything I can to make it painless.
I think honestly that as everybody's talked about it, we each have certain reasons personally, and we understand certainly that Dan has done quite a job for some time and would like to pass the gavel, but none of the rest of us seem to be in a position to step up. And that goes, I can speak for both Dean and Jill, who are not here tonight, who both expressed a strong disinterest in the chair. Gwen is the only one I don't know about.
And she has not come forward at this time. I mean, she knows we've been looking, so...
Gwen, are you speaking of
yeah.
the office?
Mm-hmm.
She kind of made it clear last meeting she did not wish to be.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Did she email after? It might not have been at the meeting.
Yeah, I didn't hear that.
It was tabled, but I know in discussion when,
Must have been a previous meeting.
Yeah, 'cause I don't think she was here last month. Yeah, she was absent last month, so it must have been the previous. Okay. And I couldn't recall. Okay, well, my biggest concern is just, it's a nice, I think it's a good thing for the community if we can move around the chairmanship to different people. I don't mind doing it again if no one else would do it, but you all know that I am gone in the winter months, and, I might be traveling some other time. I just don't want to leave us in a lurch. So I don't feel like I'm probably, it's getting tougher and tougher for me to take this role on. I guess I don't have a problem doing it one more year, if you can accept me on those terms. The fact that I may not always be here, and we may have to have the vice president or secretary step in as chairperson. The way it flows, my understanding is that it goes to the vice president and then it goes to secretary.
As I've read it, yes.
Yeah, and my understanding is that Dean is vice president right now, Mark is secretary. Dean has indicated that he'd be willing to step up as vice president again. So
It's technically called chairperson, vice
and vice
chairperson,
chair.
Vice chair.
secretary, but yes. The same structure.
So,
Well, given that, and I think, and last year, you sort of settled into what appears to be your annual spring schedule, and we seem to get around it. If it were necessary to hold a meeting without you, we would do it, but obviously your input in a lot of this has been very vital. And if it were that kind of an issue, we would try to simply table it till one of the meetings that you could have. Does everybody have that sense?
I mean, this is up to you all, as a commission, and I guess the city as to whether or not that's acceptable or not.
During this spring and gone, seems like, our 4 months notice is extended to a 10 month. Because of, business to deal with.
Given that, understanding, and I think we should put it in the minutes that Nan expressed that, but I would move that we retain the same leadership that we have had.
Does this have to be voted on as a slate of officers then? Is that the procedure, I think?
I believe, yes, it should be done as a slate of officers.
Each one separately?
No,
I think we can do it as a slate
Oh,
of
okay.
officers. Dean has, I think, made it clear he would continue as vice chair if need be, and Mark, you're okay being the secretary.
Okay.
Okay.
So, we would need a second then.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
I do know how to spell the word unanimous now.
Okay, so let's go on to the informational items. Okay, discussion about what to put in the spring newsletter to the courthouse and the storage district property owners. What did you
Could I
have in mind?
please start that discussion?
Pardon?
I would like to start that discussion if I could. At our last meeting, Mark, I should give this to you. These were just, I wanted some thought on, in the next newsletter, for a questionnaire.
Right.
To include, just to more or less get people's interest, see where they're at. I was thinking of doing that. I also did a little research into some past newsletters, and there's some information out there through SOPA, the group in Lansing, SHPO, and they obviously have a lot of interesting information. And something I found real interesting when I was in Manistee in early April wasn't so much the discussion on weatherization as a whole, but they talked very specifically, for example, about types of insulation, specifically what you shouldn't use.
Right.
And, for example, a lot of the older structures, this spray foam insulation is a real no-no because of the expansion. Wood needs to breathe or you get mold. So they give information as to the more recommended types of insulation. And it is slightly different, I found, for roofs or attic areas. Obviously, you've got to have ventilation. It was slightly different for walls. And there were some applications in basement or crawl spaces where some foam can be used in specific situations. And it's actually, the brief version of it is 3 pages. But it's very detailed, and I just thought in my mind with winter passing, people have seen their huge heating bills. It might be a topic to get people thinking about now, so that fall, you know what I'm saying? I'm thinking of making them aware of it now, so that maybe they can plan ahead, talk to a contractor, talk to an expert, get an estimate, plan accordingly. And that was my thinking as far as informational things to put in it, because in previous weatherization newsletters, and the last one I found was September of 2011. They talked about weatherization, but it wasn't there was no detail to it. It was just a general weatherization. So what I thought I would do is take that information, see if it could be compressed at all. It may not be, but if we have to send a 2-page newsletter, so be it. But I thought I would basically use that information, put it together, get it to you so you can review it, and then we'll mail it out.
Okay, would it be just the insulation issue at this point then?
I was going to,
Did you get the link?
that was going to be the gist of it. I was thinking this questionnaire, if nothing else, some preliminary questions for people. I definitely want to include that.
Can we talk about that questionnaire real quick again?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I do want to read that out. What really should be on
What do you read? What
Beginning.
Yeah.
Starting, okay. What was titled Courthouse District Property Owner Questionnaire? Number 1, do you have an interest in attending and participating in a workshop for handling repairs and maintenance for your historic home? Yes, no. Number 2, if yes, what topics would you be interested in learning about? A, general maintenance. B, masonry repair. C, painting and long-lasting results. Painting for long-lasting results. D, plaster and stucco repair. E, porch repair. F, roof restoration. G, window restoration. Please circle any you are interested in. Please write down the ones that interest you the most. Number 3, are there other areas of information you'd like to access to maintaining your home?
That's just the beginning.
Okay, that sounds pretty good.
I think the questionnaire is good. I'm not sure from the budget perspective of the city that it's necessary to send out. I mean, I like your idea of where you're coming right now, thinking about the insulation issue is timely. But wouldn't we be better simply to put an informational item that it's available, and if anybody's interested, have them come here?
That, and I'm sure I could even put it on our website.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So send him a brief particular with a link or
Mhm.
information on
Mhm.
it,
Yeah.
to specific along with the questionnaire.
Or, stop in at the city hall and pick up a copy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then you can get as detailed as you want.
Mhm.
I would offer that. A lot of people like to just do that. They'd like to swing by and put in a bill or something and pick it up.
Give a copy of, sure.
I don't think there's anything wrong with putting it on the website, but there's still an awful lot of old-fashioned folks like me who'd rather come down and get the form.
Sure.
Another thing on that questionnaire, I think this suggestion, I'm thinking maybe that the paint, that question, that is an option. I'm wondering if we shouldn't have that / lead-based paint. Because that's a big issue for a lot of people, and,
You're right.
I think maybe that needs to be
You're right.
addressed. That could be, if somebody wants a workshop, they could either do it, you could maybe do it a two-parter type thing. Talk about painting, and then you could also talk about lead-based paint, but I'm thinking I'd go ahead and throw it in with that. It's just sort of a, combination, because I think that's a good.
Maybe just add a whole, like an age.
You could either do that, or you could go with the painting long-lasting results or whatever, / lead-based paint,
Sure.
and just kind of combine it together, because you could,
Mhm.
I mean, to talk about painting, we'd probably do that an hour. Lead-based paint, we could go on for a day.
Last year, 2 of your newsletters dealt with that, so it would be a case of if somebody came in asking if we had any written information, we would just print a copy of that and give it to them also for
Sure.
information.
And I have, well, you probably have a copy, and I'd get you the electronic copy if you don't have it, of the lead-based paint guide that has been produced, or you can go online and get it at www.mhtn.org. It's right on the website in the publications. And that's a very good one. It's an excellent one to hand out because it's really directed to property owners. you know, more residential. Because a lot of these commercial property owners already know about this, and they're hiring, you know, contractors, and they're supposed to be on top of that, but this is for the do-it-yourselfers types, you know.
Okay.
So that's a great resource, and you can send it out to people electronically, to PDF, or print off copies and have it here. I think it's probably 15 pages, I don't know.
Mhm.
That'd be another thought, but I think, I would just include it in the book.
I can do that, do this, put some filler stuff in, maybe like, Aaron, you said a tickler on the insulation is, can you put in there with, you know, spray foam insulation is, you know, there are some applications where it should not be used in older homes, and just a tickler.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
Okay.
So people,
Now to send a plan, more information.
A little bit of a headline to that little section, plan ahead.
mhm.
Plan ahead. As you know, there were some astronomical heating bills this winter.
And when you send this out, just another curious thing, is there a way that they can tear off that portion of it and mail it back in?
I'll
do
make
it?
sure,
Like
there's
it's
something on
super
it where they
easy.
do, yeah. I mean, it's not gonna have a perforation, but I can certainly give enough wiggle room for some dashes, and as we've done in the past, just put in real fine print, you know, fold here and cut here, or fold here and there.
And you could even say, send it in with your check, you know, your utility bill, or
Sure.
drop off, you know, I'm just trying to make this so easy.
Yeah, that's good.
So that people will respond, if we really want them to respond, and I know how people look at that and like, but if we tell them, you know, just tear this off, bring it in, ask for more information regarding insulation,
Yes.
you know, I'm just trying to make this right.
And before I, you know, send it or do a final, I'll just email you folks a draft, and, you know, it's really nothing you have to vote on, just say, yes, this looks good, let's get it out.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
I will work on that in the next couple of weeks, and,
Sounds good.
okay?
Okay. Okay, can you fill us in on Codge and Mitchell? Where we're at with that?
They paid at the end of March, $3,200. The original amount owed was over $19,000 in back taxes. It is just slightly over $16,000. My
We have
understanding,
balance now.
the balance now
Yeah.
is just over $16,000. They have paid their city utility bills. The old boiler system in that building, that takes water, obviously is not efficient because when you think they're not running toilets or laundry or anything, the water bill the last 4 months was an average $248 a month. And they're paying it. Obviously summer, you know, they're not keeping it warm. They're just keeping things from freezing. The utility bills in the last 12 months ran $1,832. So they've paid that. We are looking for a second check near the end of this month. And Owen has spoken to them and made them aware that, okay, you're getting a tax bill like everybody else. We need this to continue. And he's made it very, you know, he's been assertive. This has to continue. This is not, you know, we're just not going to go through this exercise year after year.
So he's paying basically on the furthest year
The
out,
furthest
which is
year,
what?
it's 2011,
2011? Okay.
2011.
And how much is actually due for 2011?
It was a little over $6,000.
Okay. So with this check, we don't know how much she's sending at the end of May?
We're hoping it's at least the same.
We're
We're,
hoping-
Which means he would be caught up for that most recent
exactly,
year.
the most, the farthest year back, and then, as I
Good.
said, then continue in the future. It's
Good.
not a, it's clearly, it's been clearly made, we are not going to go through this exercise year after year. Plain and simple, we're just not going to go through this.
And just to clarify, there is not a payment plan in writing.
No, there is not.
This is just a matter of Owen working with trying to get him to pay every couple of months, or
That's
what he can?
exactly. It's every couple of months at least. It's not when you can.
Okay.
So and he kept his word with what he said he was going to do in March. He kept his word. So we'll proceed from there.
Have you heard anything else from him about what's going on with the building?
I have not, no. And we discussed it last month, and, you know, it's pretty obvious, you know, he's not a developer.
There is a group of developers with contractors coming to town Wednesday to look at the building.
Oh, great.
Great.
You look into that real estate company, or how you...
I don't know if, I know that they have the name of one of the principals of Signature.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if they would deal with them, or if they might be looking for a local reference when they get here.
Mm-hmm. Or doing it out directly, or, I don't know.
They would honor a list, this group would honor a listing.
Mm-hmm.
But they might, I don't know, I probably will hear from them while they're in town.
Mm-hmm.
Good. Good.
I've been trying to talk it up.
Well,
You
I
can't, you know.
personally mailed the booklet that I gave you folks, I personally mailed that to a downstate company within the last few weeks. And they were just inquiring about, you know, older vacant buildings in town, if we had many, and so I mailed them.
How recently was that?
This was within the last probably 3 weeks. So, I doubt if it's the same group, because I just...
Let's compare notes after the meeting.
Yes.
Like, do you send, or are you giving out to people like this a copy of that feasibility study that was done back in 2009 on that property by that independent Chesapeake group?
We'll certainly do it if they ask for more information.
I think they should know what it's all about. I think it's worth doing, I mean, you shouldn't pay a pretty sizable sum for that. I know there was a grant involved, but that might be a helpful piece of information for a developer to see what they found in their interviews with locals and...
If they ask for more information, I'll certainly do that. But I can guarantee you they were a little turned off our price. We don't need to listen to that anymore.
Well, and that news on the boiler system is interesting too. I know, I wondered when I saw it, but that it's that expensive just with the water part of it.
I just, we have 3 boilers in our house, you know,
Mhm.
cast iron ones, and I know they probably have a larger single one, but the water that's in the system basically stays there. It's not like you're constantly getting new water and losing water somewhat, unless it's a different system.
Well, unless steam comes out the radiators.
Ours is not steam, ours is hot
Well,
water.
ours is still, I mean, no, I don't think our water goes that high, but there's, you know, not very consequential, but... I don't know, that would be a good question for an HVAC guy. You know, how much water are you actually using?
Dean, I know, remarked one time, he thought that'd be one of the first things you'd want to change, because you'd also want to add the air conditioning in the building.
Emissions are right, yeah.
So you're going to do that anyway. So, you know, that'd be the first, one of the first, of course, the elevator is the first thing.
That's true. I know that was in their plan, just to replace. Okay, does anybody else have any other questions about Cobbs and Mitchell? Okay, what's going on with Kirtland Center and their AT&T?
What I got, I received a letter from a law firm. What they do is they handle more with the regulatory things, with wireless communications, antennas, etc. And basically, they just wanted to, they their plan is to do a swap. AT&T has 3 antennas, there's 9 antennas on the roof of our building. I don't know how many Verizon has, but AT&T has 9. Last year, in front of your group, AT&T, and it wasn't this law firm, they, from the minutes I read, they actually added 3 antennas last year. But what they are looking to do is take 3 of the existing antennas, and the model is called a P65, and basically taking it off and putting the newer model of the D65 on. Essentially, size-wise, weight-wise, everything, it falls. Planning Commission doesn't need a review. Antennas, towers, there are very specific parameters that the Planning Commission specifically has to approve. They sent me enough information, Jerry and I looked it over, they don't need to go before the Planning Commission because they're just swapping them. You know, reading the ordinance and so forth with the Historic District Commission, my opinion is because of the size, the weight, they're just swapping 3, taking 3 out. It tends to fall under maintenance of existing structure, which is allowed without a vote or anything from you folks. But I basically wanted to make you aware of it and see if you had any questions or if you thought maybe it was something that should come before you.
Yeah, I have a quick question. Are you talking about like the center picture that you have here? Are you talking about like those antennas that we can see there, that would be antennas like that that are going to be just replaced?
Just, yeah, what there is,
Similar size,
there's
similar
3
shape?
sections. There's 3 sections of 3 A&T antennas. 1 on the north, 3 antennas on the north, 3 on the south, 3 on the west towards us. They are called, I guess they call them sections. And evidently there are 1 antenna in each of those 3 sections that they're going to replace, swap. The P65 for the new D65.
It's a length-for-length swap.
Basically, it's a length-for-length swap, and in fact, the new antenna is 12 pounds lighter.
In the same place?
With that same group, yes. Now,
Well, how are they
obviously it'll have to have new brackets.
Oh, how are they going to continue service while they're swapping these out?
I didn't ask.
That was my thought. I wonder if they would, you know, put one next to an existing unit and then take the other one down once that was operational.
Maybe they are. Maybe these things can be, I have no idea how quickly, but the letter I received from the law firm had to do more, it had specifically to do with their follow-up with, you know, telecommunications, rules, laws. You know, they basically, the letter said, you know, is this in accordance with your ordinance for wireless communication? And, you know, it said the graphics are to withstand 150-mile-an-hour wind gusts and et cetera, but they made it very clear that this is they described it as a swap or, you know, replacing 3 of the existing with 3 of the more current antennas.
Okay, so similar size, similar material.
Yes, and actually 12 pounds lighter. And as I said, you know, I wanted to bring it to your attention. I mean, I guess they could have done it. We might not have even noticed it. But, you know, I wanted to bring it to your attention. And, you know, I know your article says that, you know, you can't prevent ordinary maintenance, or you're not supposed to. But I just wanted to make you aware of it.
Okay, thank you.
Just a quick question. In these photos, you don't have the 3 on the west side, do you?
No. What I did is I just kind of took one at Harris Street, walked down the street, took another one on the side street there, and then took one on Cass Street.
Good.
Okay.
This was helpful. Thank you, Mike.
So that's mine, you know.
Does anybody have any comments? I I do have one. Actually, sort of a request of the city policy and something. I'm noticing that now that the snow is gone, and I've actually had a couple of different people in the community talking about this too. There's some yards and some houses that are really in major disrepair. Some of them have got a lot of junk in their yards. A lot of these tend to be rentals, unfortunately. So I don't know how closely the landlords are watching this. But it's in a few cases it's kind of serious. One person talking about it, just we don't know what we're supposed to do. How do we contact the city? We know that there is a city maintenance code.
Very much
How
so.
is that enforced? What do people typically do when they do have an issue with this in the neighborhood?
They should contact the city.
Who?
Technically, it should be the enforcement department within the police. But if they contact, for example, myself or Jerry and give us the address, etc., we can always forward that to our enforcement officer. You're absolutely right. This is not the first question brought up, specifically not that neighborhood, a variety of neighborhoods. We all know more or less where it isn't. There's a lot of phone calls this year to all of our offices. We technically are not the enforcement department,
But you can pass it
but
on.
we pass it on, and I do know that, our enforcement officer is diligent and that they get at it as rapidly as they can.
Okay, now,
Particularly if it appears to be, they get at it. Anything like that is potentially a health or safety issue.
and this can include trash, building parts, materials, anything like that that's in a yard. It's in a yard or on the porch, correct?
If it appears to be excessive, porches, I think you're a little limited until they start blocking ingress, egress.
Okay.
But, if it's a concern to them, let us know.
And then the procedure is the police get involved and
The
maybe what?
enforcement officer will get involved. Our enforcement officer is very good about talking to these people, trying to, remediate the situation. As long as people make an effort to improve the situation and obviously start with the most serious things first, it's very rare that they would actually issue a citation.
Do you send letters to the property owners as
The
part of
enforcement officer does, yes.
Okay.
Yes. They will look at it first, and in many cases, my understanding is, they'll talk to the people. The intent is to work with people.
Right. Okay.
I think part of that is probably just the time of year too.
Yeah.
And where everybody's digging out from a rough winter that,
Yeah, that's why it's real noticeable right now.
Right.
But in some cases, I think there are some people that they get so used to what they have that they don't realize possibly what it looks like from the outside. It's probably gotten away from them a little bit. And I know there's one property owner that's just outside of the historic district and quite concerned about the way his neighbors are taking care of their yard in comparison to what he does, and he knows that there's got to be violating some type of a maintenance ordinance.
There is a maintenance
code.
code.
Right.
There is a maintenance code.
That you as a homeowner have the responsibility to maintain your property
Sure.
from debris, trash.
And our enforcement officer can, let the individual know that, yes, we have already contacted that person, or we haven't. And, it's followed up, and, ideally what we look for is fix the problem.
So if somebody has a concern and they want to contact the city on this, can they do this anonymously so that they don't...
Oh, sure.
Some of these people don't,
neighborhood war.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, that person's on the
Absolutely.
street, that's them.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, if the homeowner with the problem as, you know, you have to, a neighbor didn't make us aware of it, you know, but I mean, Pam, you know, in their duties, I mean, if they drive by and see something flagrant, I can guarantee you it's followed up. But it is a long list.
I just got a question about like maintenance and let's say, like, let's say the height of the grass or the leaves or whatever. It seems like sometimes, I mean, it's kind of a process, and you know, if somebody doesn't mow their lawn and it gets out of control, by the time somebody says, oh, you know, file a complaint, and then the city might, you know, they'll send a letter and they have so much time to do it, and they might do it, you know, just at the end of that period, which means, you know, you have to look at it for 2 more weeks. What is the period after the letter is sent?
Well, first off, the height of grass is 12 inches.
Okay, thank you.
That's the first thing. So if somebody mows their lawn and it's not 12 inches, but they haven't trimmed their shrubs in years and years.
Even shrubs?
No, shrubs, that's the problem. You know, someone cannot trim shrubs, but if they keep the lawn before 12 inches or below it, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But the length of grass is 12 inches. And it is followed up. It's just like everything else. So.
How long, like that letter that goes to them, what is the, you know, the time that they have?
Oh, I'm sure it's ASAP.
Okay, thanks.
What I'll do, I'll ask to see a copy of the letter. Enough of them go out, I'm sure it's saved in Word.
Okay.
Okay.
I can just bring that at the next meeting, what the procedure is, and
Maybe a copy of the maintenance code of ordinance, you know, rather than trying to find it online, that would be kind of helpful to have. All I know is that, I don't know if you guys did this, but I've gotten at least 2 or 3 requests for spring since I've been back from people. It's like, what is going on? And they're different places too, but they're kind of within the same.
actually the city is, in my mind, what I've heard, a couple examples, the city is the one that noticed it and took an issue.
Yes, I mean,
Oh, no.
the 12, for grass, you know, like 12 inches, you know, like a nice manicured lawn, it's like thick and green. I mean, even 4 inches is going to start keeling over. But 12 inches, is that in this area?
Boy, you're asking me a question I don't know. It sure seems awful high to me, though.
Yeah, I just wonder if that could be.
It seems awful high to me.
Okay. Is it possible to make a note of maybe kind of looking at it, to compare it maybe like Traverse City and Mansfield? I'd be interested in knowing.
I'll call Traverse. I know a couple people in a couple towns. I'll just call them.
I'd be interested.
I will.
Saying the grass is greener in Traverse City.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay.
All I know is my neighbor mowed their lawn this weekend. I didn't have time, and you know.
I'll be watching you closely.
Yeah, right. We'll probably be getting a letter soon.
Right.
Our grass is like,
I know, we're busy with it. Does anybody have any other comments?
other issues?
Yes.
I do. And it kind of goes back to the, when somebody from out of town is looking into, and I know we discussed this a lot, like with realtors and such. You know, I was just wondering, is it possible, you know, because I think about that one couple that was here who bought that gamble roof home up on Cass Street, and they didn't know, you know, anything about, you know, historical district rules. But I'm just wondering, like, when somebody buys a home, is it possible to maybe, you know, let them know if it's conforming, non-conforming, or maybe they should even know that before?
Yeah, what we did, and this is something we could probably do again. I think it was about a year ago. We might want to go back and check, Mike. We sent to all the area realtors. We sent to the Paul Bunyan Board of Realtors and asked her to send it out, and she did, the administrator there, regarding the local historic district, the map, what it entails as far as if you are a contributing structure within that, what that means, to try to continue to educate the realtors. But, you know, I'm thinking it should be something we should do automatically once a year. I think I still have that stuff that we sent out to them. I think I wrote the letter, and, you know, we work with Brian and Jerry on that. And I could check into that, but I think it's something we probably should do at least once a year, because you get new realtors, or people
Right.
forget. But that's really the best way to do it. The only other thing you can do, I mean, it's on the city website, but there's really not any other way that I'm aware of that you can alert the property owner.
Alert a new or potential one. I mean, obviously, it's something of potential problem. I should be able to find it and make an account interview, and if it's going to be easy to do, we'll just...
It should be, and it should, we should be doing that once a year.
But it was to the Paul Bunyan board.
Yeah, what we did is we contacted them directly and asked her to send it out, and she did.
Okay.
Yeah, and I bet you I still have that, but I think it was about a year.
Okay, cool. But, because I was just thinking, I could see it happening when somebody, you know, buys a home, and they want to, and it's no wood home, shipping home, and they want to put vinyl siding. I mean, they, you know, after purchasing it, when they find that out, you know, they kind of upset.
Yes, that's true. And that's a good first step. But unfortunately, there's really not anything else. The only other thing that I think we discussed one time was if they have to pull a building permit, then, you know, there's a little particular file there that supposedly if they...
The address pops up
Right.
as part of the district.
Correct. And we've discussed that and how to try to solve that problem by alerting the building department and having them put signs up in their office and all that stuff. The only other thing would be, I guess, if they, you know, send in for a change of address for their city bill, utility bill, if that could possibly trigger, you know, some type of an informational letter to them. So if, you know, somebody is putting, you know, on their address, if it's like or somebody on Cash, 411 Cash Street, and they're calling in to say, put the water in our name, we just bought this house. I mean, that would be an opportunity. It would be a little tricky to figure out how to do that and catch it, but it would be another way that they could be alerted early on.
That was new homeowner, you know, we all feel that way, and I've gone with beforehand.
You bet.
I will find what you, I should be able to find what you did before and replicate it.
Sure.
I think
Paul
we should do
Bunyan
that
order.
on that once a year.
Yeah, it's
It's a big, big time of year to do it too.
Right. And then I just have one more thing to add, that like if somebody, and I know that a lot of people sometimes are seek a historic district, you know, just because I think if somebody purchases a home in the district, maybe there should be like a little, like a welcome package or something, you know, just general information and welcoming, and just that kind of thing. I mean, just, you know, just like, you know, 2 homes a year, 3, like so.
I think that's a great idea, and send them a copy of maybe the last newsletter, a brief explanation as to what the historic district is, a link to the website.
Do you want to be the chairperson?
Yeah.
No, I don't know where I came up with all this, I should say.
No, I just think we
Must be
should
my
hear.
jacket.
Yeah, we should invite the new homeowner.
Yeah.
Mark, one more question, you're automatically the new chair.
Okay. Yep.
Congratulations,
Yeah.
and by the way.
You have just won.
This is how we
Mark,
run
though,
things.
to answer that question, I can easily put together in a few minutes some sort of a packet. So I guess my thinking would be, being as you folks know that area better than anyone else,
Yeah.
if you happen to see somebody move in,
Sure.
feel free again to contact me, give me the address, I can look something up, and I mean, I can always find, like you said, man, the last newsletter, you know, I could maybe
Copy what you have on the
just
website.
draft a little very welcome, hey, welcome, and, you know, you know, the Courthouse Hill Historic
Hopefully
District
someone
Commission
would
welcomes you.
think to check before they went so far, like you said, if they went and got vinyl siding.
Well, those
I mean,
other
certainly-
folks did not. remember it as,
Yeah, and the other thing would be, in that letter that we send to the realtors, you could mention that to them. So if you sell a house to a new homeowner, make sure you let the city know so they can get something out to the individual homeowner and tell them what it means to live in a local historic district, blah, blah, blah. You know, that should also be included in that realtor letter.
Sure.
So that then they can just say, okay, fine, I'll just call the city or let the city know and they'll follow up with you.
Sure.
No, that's just, I think anything we can try like that would be helpful, that's a good point. Okay, anything else?
I've got one quick item.
Okay.
The event at the museum Friday, I thought the turnout was good. How was it in relation to other years?
It was about the same as last year, actually, but it was really good. We figured we had between 125 and 150 people. It was really good. We had a blast. It was a blast. We had a pawn shop radio was playing, and a lot of young people were there. It was great. I'd say probably 25% of the people there were quite young. I mean, early 30s, and that's great because they're excited about it. And, yeah, we did well with the auction items, and so,
When purchase?
yeah.
When got in on the phone?
And we got in on
and
it.
I know that, I didn't know that.
And to follow that up, I'm actually putting just some little information about that event in the Cadillac report.
Oh, good.
It goes out every couple of weeks.
Good.
Great.
Prior, just
Good.
why
It was
not?
great that you attended. I appreciate that.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. Food, drinks, whatnot. Great. I mean, and the timing was good after work. I
That's
think
what
when you
we
got
got
it
to.
then versus like people go home, get settled in and come back, it's a whole lot harder, I think, to get people to, you know.
Yeah.
I do have one more quick thing. That block with the Michigan Bell, that's not in the district, right? With the Methodist Church.
Michigan Bell, no, that's in the
About
district,
AT&T?
AT&T
Yes,
building.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that is.
That's in the district.
Yeah.
Okay.
And a Presbyterian church.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then the church just across the side street.
Congregational.
Okay.
Yeah.
They were having some issues with the roofs. Is anybody aware of that?
Who?
With Congregational Church?
No.
I guess it was like really serious, almost like.
I don't think that side of the street is in the historic district.
Oh, okay.
I could be wrong. I think it's just the opposite side, the other side.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
The Presbyterian church is having issues with their bell tower. It's not really the tower, it's the bell, because it was all rotted out. So everything they're doing is going to be internal structural stuff.
Hmm.
So they've got to re-stabilize that bell. I happen to know about that because
Getting really struck at night.
so we had a water leak up inside it. Was there for years and years, so it
Mm.
rotted the boards and the bell dropped.
Mm.
Thankfully, it caught. You know, it's really heavy, so it's a long story. But anyway, they are going to get ready to do some work there, but it's going to be right there doing inside. And anyway, but no, I didn't know that about Congregation. I don't think they're included. I think it's just the other side. It's that side. What was the? Are they reworking or?
Well, as I understood, it was really some very serious, like, expensive, like, there was that they need to do. And I was just talking with just one person who was aware of it. It was actually to the point where they were thinking they didn't think they could even do that. So it was like, you know, you just leave it there. I mean, that's the impression I got in talking with this person who.
Yeah, it is not included.
Okay.
It's not included. The Congregational Church is not. They're right outside of that. But the opposite side, AT&T is.
Okay.
And it starts at Spring Street.
How we ever allowed that monstrosity
You know,
in this.
I like that building. I could see it could be like a mid-century museum or something.
Well, unfortunately, it does have an opportunity to probably do, National Register.
kind of like maintenance, like next time, it's kind of neat.
It's just what we tore down to get that. It's just
Yeah.
heartbreaker.
Yeah.
Okay, does anybody have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, everybody, for not